Yo, what up, street talk, street gods, the dogs. All right, some turbo thoughts. Right. I mean, scared or none, or anything. So, what is it that holds us back in today's world? Fear, right? So, you know, we so scared, right? We're scared of attempting new 1-rep maxes. We're scared of upsetting other people, hurting other people's feelings. We scared of, you know, asking somebody for permission. We scared for everything, right? So what's the big problem about being scared? The big issue is that, I don't know, there's so much to do, there's so much to attempt, blah blahs, and it's the scaredy cat in us which prevents us from attempting the insanely great. So my personal thought is, in life, you know, quote notions of success should be predicated not on whether one is quote successful or not, but to the grandeur or to the scale in which one is willing to attempt things, right? And so how does one get to a point where one is no longer scared? I mean, I have some basic physiological thoughts. I mean, just lift insanely heavy weights, eat a shitload of meat. Went to Fogo's de Chow's last night, got some picanha, pretty good. Or just go to Costco Business Center. Seems like a good idea. Sometimes I feel like my life is the Matrix. Boop, boop. Seneca loves the test of leadership. All right, so yeah, I think it's I mean, funny enough, it's generally a good idea to, yeah, just point your camera at everything. Tesla on Tesla, right? Plaid. And yeah, and I think, you know, generally speaking, it's kind of a good idea to, you know, get 8 to 12 hours of sleep a night, right? Just sleep good. Upon, you know, when you're sleeping, just put in some earplugs. I really like these, like, I forget what it's called, Fluents. There's like these purple ones on Amazon, which are pretty good and stuff like that. So I think those ones are pretty good. And then, you know, you could just use a towel and put it over your eyeballs to when you go to sleep and stuff like that. Sleep on the floor, tatami mat, or kind of, you know, just sleep good, right? I mean, simple things too, right? Charge your phone in a different room. You know, don't watch Coco shows. Like, I think actually the best life advice that I have is just, yeah, just don't have, you know, was that Prime TV show thingy, don't have the Apple TV Plus, don't have the Hulus, don't have the Netflix, don't pay for any subscription streaming services. Because my thought is, actually, when you watch these things, like, I accidentally watched some stuff. I was watching Pachinko just like a few months ago, and I watched like one episode with my mom in the evening, learn about Korean history or whatever. And actually, like, the adrenaline, the drama kind of keeps you up. It kind of fucks with your sleep too, because it makes you think too much. I mean, the best way to go to sleep is just take a cold shower and just hit the sack. And I mean, if you want to, just read a paperback book before you sleep. Read the Iliad, read the Odyssey. If there's only one book that I would keep for the rest of my life, it'd probably be the Iliad, or some book by Nietzsche. I don't know, Will to Power, something like that. Twilight, the Idols. That which attempts to kill you can only make you stronger, or from the military school of life, right? So, I mean, actually, the thing that's very interesting is a lot of these great entrepreneurs of the past, they all kind of essentially took a vow of poverty. So even Elon Musk, everyone's talking about Elon Musk, this is the richest man in the world. I'm like, okay, read his biography, the one that came out a few years ago. The thing that's very interesting about Elon Musk is, you know, essentially when he started X.com or ZipPay, or I don't know what's called, later merged with Peter Thiel to become PayPal, he essentially like was sharing, you know, a single computer, programming this thing with his brother, and they're both living in sleeping bags inside like an office space. They didn't have an apartment, right? They essentially lived like homeless people, and and they would just go to the local YMCA and shower there. And also, what was really funny is that I think Elon Musk fed himself on $2 a day, like just eating like spaghetti and hot dogs or something like that. So it's like, you know. And then the funny thing is, everyone wants to become Elon Musk. And I'm like, y'all want to become Elon because you just want to be super rich, I guess? Or do you actually want to really, really become him in terms of just kind of dedicating your life to attempting an insanely great thing? I mean, like, I'm like, anyone who criticizes Elon Musk, I'm like, y'all just a bunch of loot. Like, the man's trying to bring us to like Mars, right? Outer space and SpaceX. And y'all just thinking about getting the new Plaid or the new Tesla or the new Lambo or just make a bunch of money. Is like, y'all still stuck on Earth, y'all. Basic losers, right? So so I think the reason why this is important for us to consider is that, yeah, in this short, uncertain life of ours, what is the more interesting, noble goal? I think the interesting, noble goal in life is, yeah, directing all your energy, time, efforts, etc. into attempting something insanely great, something that you actually really care for. And I mean, truth be told, like, we're all kind of torn in different ways. It's difficult to know what you really, really want, right? Because so much of society is about inoculating you with what you should care about and what you should not care about. And so a big advancement in your thinking and stuff like that is to primarily dictate for yourself what you truly care for and what you do not care for. And I think this is actually a very critical differentiation because, you know, you think about Peter Thiel, Rene Girard, the mimetic theory is that humans, I mean, one theory, you know, humans, we like minds, right? Like mimes, like we mime each other in terms of what to care for, what not to care for. And I believe that Peter Thiel, Rene Girard thinks this is a bad idea because we all a bunch of lemmings and we all finna walk off the cliff. Not a good idea, right? So to be able to posit new epic life goals for yourself, I think is actually a very, very noble idea and goal. Right? I mean, my goals are very simple, right? Like, my goals is like, I want to become more inspired, more creative, more big picture thinking. And I mean, a lot of it too is, I think we're all often chasing technology to make ourselves better or to increase the grandeur of our attempts and our thinking. So I haven't figured out all the solutions, but certainly having a Ricoh GR3X, GoPro Mini, iPad Pro. I mean, these seems to be like good technologies that's actually been very, very helpful. Also, the Vibram 5-finger LX model, Ramon Vital Drive compression legging thighs, license train shorts, compression top, the license train. Also, you gotta get the big muscles, just lift heavy weights, hype lifting, 1 rep maxing, or Kim style. And yeah, and so I'm like, part of me is like, I'm interested in pioneering and advancing new, essentially, methods or thoughts or wisdoms about fitness, weightlifting, what to eat, etc. So like 100% carnivore diet, intermittent fasting, no breakfast, no lunch, only dinner. It's so funny, people's like, but that's not sustainable. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, that's not sustainable. Sooner or later you'll fall back into the all diets real. And I'm like, it's not a diet, it's an ethos. Because actually the reason why people anti 100% meat carnivore diet is, I think actually ethics gets in the way, right? People's like, it is unethical and bad for the planet to eat meat, right? And only meat. I'm like, yeah, but you still driving the Tesla, and I'm sure these lithium ion batteries come from somewhere, and y'all have Amazon Prime, and I'm sure all these fucking boxes are coming from somewhere. So anyone who lectures you on the planet or this and that, and they own an automobile car, they use electricity to the heat themselves, they own an iPhone, I'm like, get out of here, right? It's like, y'all's just a bunch of like, what a lot of people do, I think, is a lot of people are miserable and unhappy with themselves, and this is my psychoanalysis, is that people sad and miserable and kind of depressed, or they kind of hate themselves, whatever, and they're trying to seek themselves to become some sort of Jesus figure, savior person by positing these grand ideas like the planet or animals and this. And this is actually where I don't trust animal ownership either. Because my thought is, if you own a dog or a cat, right? Essentially, like, you want to feel like a savior or a lord or superior. You want to own something, right? They call it pet ownership, right? Like, you own the pet, right? And people's like, oh, you saved this dog. It's a rescue. Oh, that's so nice. I'm like, the only reason you care for that is that you want to feel more superior, mighty, and stuff like that. And I just feel like it's a superficial way to do it. Anyways, so yeah, 100% carnivore diet, extremely heavy weightlifting. And also the funny thing too is that, like, everybody's so insecure. Sophomore 3 years ain't picked a career. So like, isn't the point of weightlifting become stronger, buffer, like to increase your self-confidence? But any bodybuilder or weightlifter or something who posts stuff to Instagram or social media or competes is signaling a severe lack of self-confidence. Self-confidence, confide, with fides, confides, faith. Just have faith in yourself, and have self-pride. I think it's funny because in American modern day society, one is not permitted to have pride in oneself unless it is predicated on the opinions of others, whether others also deem it worthy or not, right? And it's so funny too, because, you know, you have all these bodybuilders who are insanely buff, whatever, competing on stage, being judged by a bunch of skinny fat losers who probably don't even lift, right? It's like, this is why you shouldn't do CrossFit or anything. Like, CrossFit is like, look at Greg Glassman, Greg space Glassman, right? I'm like, bro, do you even lift? Like, it's so funny because, like, all the stuff on the internet about that is like, it's getting buried, and they're like, yeah, you know, he might not lift weights, but he's analyzed all these weightlifters and he's figured out the optimal way to do fitness. I'm like, bruh, that's, you know, proof is in the pudding. It's like, can you imagine like this, like, Lord of Warcraft, the fat guy in the South Park episode, watching all the porn videos on the internet and then finally creating this comprehensive, you know, sexual pleasure system, like a Kama Sutra or something like that, and then lecturing on how to optimally have sex. It's like, yeah, sure, maybe he's never actually, you know, had sexual intercourse before, but because he's studied all these videos on the internet for 20, 30 years, he is not the expert. I'm like, so CrossFit, get out of here. Just 1 rep maxing seems to be the way. And I mean, you can't trust me, you can't trust nobody, but at least I'm not on the juice, I'm not on the roids. You know, I don't use straps, I don't use a belt. I don't even consume protein powder or creatine or any of these nonsensical things. And like, I think I'm also the only weightlifter that I know who does it fasted, no breakfast, no lunch before either, and no pre-workout. That's like, I think they just add a bunch of sugar to it and probably just makes you fat. That's the only critique I have of it. So anyways, goals for the new year: become more free thinking, become less scared, try to think and pause it for yourself. What are new life goals you actually care for yourself?